two at around 11:30. Okay. Can you all just pick one? Anybody can anybody have any questions on the assignments which is due next week? And also on IDP if you have any question.
Doctor, this is Aina.
Hmm?
I want to remind you about the grouping section in
Yeah.
reminded
Not
you.
really, right? I mean, nobody is doing any submission at the moment, correct or not?
Yeah, because we cannot do it.
No. When is supposed to be the submission?
30th.
Yes lah.
Latest is 30th.
So you submit on the 30th lah. It will be ready. Don't worry.
All right. Thank you, doctor.
I know of the situation. I haven't just get around, doing it, but I don't expect somebody to hand it in now, right? Me,
Yes,
anybody so confident that you want to hand it in already? So no question now on the assignment now. You all finished already, is it? And so dying to hand in. Hmm?
I got a question on assignment.
Okay, go ahead.
The production rate we count for manpower only or both manpower and machinery?
Wait a minute. Okay. Actually, this particular assignment, because I've got you guys to do CPM together with Gantt chart. Basically for the time itself, the duration itself, for the calculation of duration, the right way is to use production rate. Okay. So, but the thing is, I do not want you guys, because it is only a 10% assignment. So I do not want you guys to go into the very detail of every single resources attached with production rate. You see, so I just need you all to come up with a list of labor, list of material, list of machineries to be used for the entire project. Okay, it doesn't have to be activity by activity. Okay, but for IDP later, yes, you have to do that. Okay, but then now for these assignments, because the scope will get very big, it will be almost like a project if I ask you to do that. Okay, so what I need you to do is you just basically list down after work breakdown structure, list down for that particular layer one of work, you need this amount of people. For this amount, I mean, I'm not going to be marking you exactly, this is illogical, or this is not good, or whatever, So it's going to be just a list of resources. And then after that, if you can attach all the production rate to those resources, okay? And then from there, you just show me how you calculate the duration for, say, like the calculation for the activities, you see. So it doesn't matter if it's not so accurate, yeah. The main thing is the practice here is I need you all to know how to do Gantt chart and CPM. So the duration is even if you go and guess some duration, I would not be penalizing anybody on the accuracy of the production rate or the accuracy of the resources and the accuracy of the duration. The main thing is you have a duration to be planted into the calculation for your Gantt chart and the calculation for your duration, for your CPM. You understand?
So I need to list down all the resources, means material, manpower, and machinery, and then assume production rate. Then count duration.
If you don't list down the material, there's no way that you can use production rate. Do you realize that? If you don't list down the quantity of formwork, the quantity of bars, the quantity of concrete and all that, there's no way that you can actually do the production, you can use the production rate, because the production rate is quantity of work, quantity of work here, unless you have the quantity of work, otherwise it's going to be quite impossible to calculate without quantity of material. Okay, so the material is there for a reason. You must calculate the material or the quantity of work. The quantity of work are usually pretty much based on the material itself, you see. So you have to list down, okay, and then the production rate you have to get, because of your project, most of your project are actually quite small. So I don't see you guys having a lot of different production rate, so just key in some production rate that is reasonable. Like you can get it from contractors, you can get it from JKR, you can get it from, your LI places, whatever. So you have to put it in, you need to list it down. So from there, say for example, layer 1, you have to look at, let's say you have the 3 layers all worked out already. So from that 3 layers, you will look at the resources available, and then you look at the machineries available, machinery and manpower available. These two have to be compared with one another. You cannot say that I only use manpower, I don't care about machinery, because sometimes you have the manpower, but you don't have the machineries, or sometimes you have the machinery that is really cannot be doing the work as fast as possible, you see. Most of the time, yes, the manpower will be the one governed, but then the thing is, without the machineries, you have to make a comparison. So for you to choose the duration, you need to show me that you guys understand this particular step here.
Okay, understand. Thank you, doctor.
Understand now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you cannot just, I do not like, of course, I cannot teach you now to simply guess, you see. That is not the right way. And I also cannot say that, you simply guess the production rate. You simply guess the resources, you see. So everything when you do your guess, please be logical, please have basis if possible. I think this question was this question was also being asked by some other people as well. So it's actually a very general question. So I'll just repeat myself. Basically, you need to come up with the work breakdown structure. The work breakdown structure will be the part that is going to be quite important, okay? It is going to be a very important element here that you need to really look into and do it properly, okay? And then after that, you can describe some of the work if you want to, that's fine with me. And then after that, what you can do is just also, before you do that, you need to also do the project background, location of project and the project scope of work, that kind of thing, some drawings, maybe some site locations, maybe, Then after that, I will expect you all to do your work breakdown. And then after your work breakdown into like maximum about 3 layers, if not necessarily, don't go up to 4 layers. And it has to be definitely more about 2 layers, more than 1 layers, that's for sure. Okay. Then after that, you have to list down based on the work breakdown. Use a point of reference. You can use layer 2 or layer 1 as a point of reference to create your list of material and your list of quantity of material and your quantity of resources needed. And all this is estimation. I am not expecting like 100% accuracy out of that. Okay. Then from there, you need to attach the production rate to all your resources. Of course, you cannot attach production rate to your material, but it's all your labor and your machineries. I only need 3: material, manpower, and also machinery. So for machineries and also for manpower, you need to attach some production rate. So this production rate, preferably, I need you to get it properly from somewhere, and it's just not something that you cook up from the air kind of thing, And then after that, you just have to do some calculation based on the 2 production rate. Like let's say manpower, for each activity, you've got manpower, you've got machineries. Just calculate based on the quantity and see which of it is more critical. If let's say your machinery is more critical, then you use that machinery duration. At the end of the day, this is to show me, that you know how to use production rate, and to show me that you know how to compare which of the production rate is more important. You don't have to do it, like I said, you don't have to go to layer 3 and do it for every single one of the activity, So I think stick to layer 1, general, a very general layer and a very general resources list and a very general production rate calculation. And then from there, you get your duration. And then the next thing is to show me that you know how to draw a Gantt chart and how to use that duration to create your AON and then to do your critical path analysis. Okay, so are we clear on all this? It's mine. Webex. Still talking? Okay. So everybody is like giving me a thumbs up, so that's fine. Okay, looks good. Okay, so I think we have to really get it going. Okay. Yes, next week, don't worry about the grouping or whatever. That is very small matter. Unless somebody message me now and say, Doctor, I have to hand in my assignment now. If I don't hand in my assignment, I'll get sick or something, So I'm giving you plenty of time to look at your assignment. So don't go and hurry, hand it in kind of thing. So you do have another few more days to go. Check through whatever that it is missing, and then try to make it better. And don't hand it, you don't get extra mark for handing in like 3 days or 4 days or even a week early. I don't give you a clap on your back and say that, you deserve another 5 marks because of that. See? So you may as well head it in on the 30th or on the 29th or something like that. Okay, on the 30th, I would have Mr. William, Engineer William Tang, to come in and give you a session on basically, you know, costing and problems with costing and what is the usual issues with costing, etc., etc. Okay, so and BQs as well. You need the technique of BQs, you need the technique of costing, especially for IDP 2 later. IDP 1, the technique of costing and how you do for conceptual, how you do for preliminary. If you listen to my lecture very carefully on Tuesday, I think in recording 2 or 3, I've already mentioned about how to do parametric and all that. And I've also mentioned about this sort of costing technique during the IDP sessions that I have done with you all the other day. So again, go back to the recording that I have. If you don't go back to the IDP sessions recording, you can go back to the Tuesday, week 7, Tuesday recording 2, 3, 4, around that region. Try to listen to how to do parametric, parametric is going to be for your preliminary design, or it can be an all-up rate. Okay, so it's either you do an all-up rate or you do a parametric calculation. I prefer a parametric calculation. Okay, for conceptual, I will only need an analogy estimate. That's all. Okay, so this two estimates here is going to be used for your IDP 1 now. Okay, around this time, you know. So please understand what to do, because if you don't understand what to do, or if you don't know, if you can even try it and show me a sample on how you come up with, let's say, water reticulation parametric calculation, you know, and show it to me, and you can email me, and I believe in week 10 or maybe next week or in a week or 2, I believe that we were going to have another IDP session, which is the official IDP sessions with you all. And that is where you can ask your question. So you don't go to your mentor, you know. I really dislike it when I already tell you that, you know, ask me during this time and ask me when and all that. You know, I've already given you very specific instructions, and then, you know, after I've given you this, and then after I've done the IDP sessions with everybody, you know, in 2 weeks time, and then you go and ask your mentor again, you know, I don't know how to do this, you know, what are we supposed to do for parametric calculation, or you don't even know the word parametric. Some people are like that. They don't even know how to do, not that they don't even know how to do, they don't even know that you are supposed to do parametric calculation. So they go and ask their mentor, and then the mentor start coming to me and say, you know, Dr. Lee and Madam Rohaida all start running to me and say that, you know, Dr. Ting, you brief your student or not, or already or not? They say they don't know, they don't even know what to do, you know, that kind of. So it is a very discouraging thing for me, actually, because, like, you know, I felt like nobody is listening to what I say, kind of thing, you know. Then what's the point of me spending hours and hours talking when, you know, you guys are just not listening, you know? And then what I spend, you know, half an hour trying to digest, I mean, like, we do this processing this of all this recording and then send it on YouTube, and then from the YouTube I process it and I put it on online in Elite for you all, and then nobody listened to it, you know, that kind of thing, you know. So please be a bit, you know, please really listen carefully, you know, with whatever I have to say before you go running to your mentor. I know that sometimes, you know, it's easy, you know, it's just like going to your mentor, it's like going to a vending machine. I'm hungry, you know, I'm just pressing, I put $1 in, I want to get my bread, you know, I want to get my keropok out, and then it's a, you know, everything drop out like that. Yes, I know it's easy, you know, going back to a mentor and ask the same question is easy, you know. It's like you pretend like you never hear anything, you know, or not, you didn't pretend, you just don't hear anything, and then go to a vending machine and expect an express answer, an express meal, you know. Don't do that, you know, don't do that, you know, because it's a very bad habit. It's a very bad habit to cultivate in that sense, you know. In the future, if you actually go to, you know, if you now you get scolding from me. That's fine. You know, you don't get heartbreak. You know, you don't get into problems, you see. But then if one day you do this, you go to NTP, you go to MBKS, you speak to their engineers, you speak to the authority, you know, or you communicate with the other party architects and QSs, you know, everything has been talked about already. And then suddenly you go to somebody, you know, you go back to them and say that, oh, sorry, I don't know what to do, you see. So when they ask you any question, you say you don't have question. And then later on, 2 weeks later, you approach another engineer or you approach another officers, you know, and then you get, definitely nobody will like you that way, you know. I mean, like nobody working, in terms of working, nobody will like it, you know, that you all are like repeating, ask them to repeat a lot of things, you see. So that at the end of the day, they will just probably just avoid you completely and never pick up your phone call and never reply you, you know, and just disappear, and then you just have to leave it. Or some people even get more nasty. Every time they see your drawings, they will check every left, right, and center, you know, that kind of thing. And then, or they check your calculation more rigorously because they don't think that you're a competent person, okay? So, yeah, I mean, like, sorry for nagging a little bit, because this is what happened all the time, you know. So I really need to advise everybody on this. You see, don't cultivate that kind of habit. And the other thing is, somebody was asking me on in email, they showed me their site layout plan, you know, and they asked me, Doctor, can you comment on my site utilization plan? I don't mind commenting on the site utilization plan, but the problem is the person actually showed me a site layout plan and asked me to comment on the site utilization plan. So that means I can only say that that person did not understand what is site utilization. You see? So I am sure there's another 20 of you or 30 of you who doesn't understand what is site utilization. Site layout plan is what you guys are doing now. You know, you're laying out your building, your structure, your road, okay, your drain, your water pipeline, the location of your sewage. That is site layout plan. Okay, that is the work layout. That is what we mean by site layout. Okay, and site utilization is after you have all your work and all that laid out already, you need to know how. You have to imagine, you have to do an AI in your head, how the machinery will come to site, where the machinery will park at night, you know, and then where, when the machinery comes to this dead end, how are they going to turn, and how, you know, how much angle they need and all that on a piece of land that is going to be gradually built, you see. In the beginning, it's very easy. Every machinery comes in, it's like, you know, they can move everywhere they want because there's nothing there, you know. But then later on, when the survey is done, the pegging is done, there's a lot of packs and all that around, your machinery will have to start to be very careful in terms of their movement already. You cannot just run into some boundaries, run into some packs and all that, you see. And then after that, if let's say if you're doing a high-rise building here, you will need things like tower crane. And when you have tower crane, the placement of the tower crane is very important on site. You want to place it at a location that the angle is going to be covering the radius and diameter is going to be covering, the movement radius is going to be covering the entire site as possible. Or if you have if it's a really huge building, then you have two tower crane. You have to make sure that the boom don't clash into one another. So this is what we mean by site utilization, and where you're going to put your site office, where you're going to put your workers' quarters, where you're going to put your health facilities. You know, if there is you have to put your toilets and all that kind of thing. And then you need to know where your site access is, where is access road, and where are the places that people will be stopped. They cannot go any further in. So this is what we call site utilization. And this is what I will be marking you on, you know, on the site utilization. That is part of project management, because that's part of our resources controlling and where you're going to put your material inventory. And obviously, you have to only use your own site. There is no such thing as I bought because the next door land is empty. I put my things there. No such thing. You cannot crop into other people's land. That is illegal. If that person, if the landowner doesn't sue you, then you're lucky. But if they do go and make a police report and say that you are encroaching into their land, you're gonna have a court case up on your head. Okay? And the police will come knocking on your door, basically, you know. So Sarawakians are generally still very nice people, but then you know, things like that, you probably get a warning first, but you probably will not go into a bad state yet, lah. Like, you know, like if you're overseas, definitely you wouldn't even be seeing anybody, but you get a letter or you get police knocking on your door. That's all, you know. So please be very careful. Don't encroach into other people's land. So that was the two questions that I've gotten for site utilization. So I hope that whoever is blur about site utilization, at the moment, you guys are trying your best to do site layout plan. It's only in IDP 2 that you are expected to do site utilization plan, meaning that you've already got all your layout properly ready, designed, you know, and then you need to show me you know how to do site utilization, meaning that how to, it's all about construction workflow. For site utilization, it's more on that. It's about the flow of work, safety, health, and construction technique and all that. So it's more under me, you see. So for site layout plan, what you can do is you can actually, there is a booklet, okay, there is a booklet, there's a book that is by the State Planning Authority. So if you have your own LI firm, I mean, I have been trying to find my book, you know, I went back to the office because my office, before the second close down of the office, my bookshelf actually entirely ruined off, you know, like completely crashed, you know, one very interesting night. So the next day I come to office, my bookshelf is gone, you know, and all my books, everything is like one whole pile on the floor. So before the office closed, that was what happened. So I had to shift all my books away and leave it on the floor somewhere. And then they give me a new bookshelf. And then after that, I have no time to actually put it back. So when I try to look for it, I can't find it. And I called up your seniors. Last year, they said that they never get it. Didn't know why they never get it. I thought they have it, you know. So they said they never have it. So I don't know. And then I haven't tried to look for the previous year senior. But please find it. It's called it's actually called a manual, planning manual. Okay, it's a Sarawak planning manual. Inside there, they will tell you what are the setbacks, I thought I have a copy in the IDP. Maybe I do have a copy in the IDP room, you know, but then because you guys are doing online, so you cannot go back and get this. So can you please find it somewhere? Planning manual. I don't remember. I think there's a name of the book, planning manual. Inside there's even footpath width, road width, you know, like 6 meters road. What are you how much road reserve are you supposed to use, you know? And if it's a 10-meter road, what kind of road reserve you're supposed to have, you know, and then what kind of footpath you're supposed to have, and then car park, how big for L parking, for side parking, for whatever parking. They tell you exactly for motorcycle parking, they tell you the size of the parking lot and all that. And then for houses, they will tell you that for this piece of land, you must have like 3 meters from the front, 6 meters from the back, and how many meters from the side, you know, as a setback, you know. So you cannot design like just put the house in there and, you know, go right up to the boundary, you know. So it is a very, very extensive book, talk about layout, you know, like how to lay out. If you can't find it, you can actually check with architects, and they normally would have it. Okay, they normally would have it. Okay, and like I said, go back to your LI firm and ask them if they've seen this kind of booklet. I will also try my best to try to find it, a soft copy for you, because I remember I've given, every year I will give it to your senior, and then they will go and copy it, you know, and then they will actually give me back the book, unless somebody didn't give me back, you know, or Then I remember there was one year that somebody actually scanned it and give it to me, and then I just cannot find it anymore. Okay, so do you guys know about this book at all? It will help you with the site layout plan. Do you know that in site layout plan, the number that is written, the top of the number will always be heading north. You see, so this is all the little detail that you have in your site layout plan. They will show you the orientation. When you read a plan and when you read the lot number on every building, those numbers are written in a way, it's not suka hati right one. It have to be the top of those numbers have to be facing the north, you see. So these are some of the things that is very particular in site layout plan. So you have to check out this booklet. Huh? Yeah, we're talking too much on other things. Oh, okay. Any other questions so far?
Hello, doctor. I have a question, doctor.
Yep.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this the question is regarding the assignments.
Can.
Okay. Okay, this is our Gantt chart that we obtained from our WBS. So my question is, this architecture work, we are using IBS. So is it interlocking brick? So is it we put it after superstructure or during the superstructure works for this base?
The sequencing of activities, is it?
Yes, it's about the sequencing of the activities.
What kind of work is it for you're doing from IBS?
Okay, I will check for the IBS. We are currently using this one for installation it on the walls.
Oh, that is architectural work. So
Yes.
normally this one you will have to come up. The installation bit will come after substructure. I mean after the superstructure is being completed.
Oh, is it after the superstructure?
Yeah. The superstructure is your beam, your column, and all that. Well,
Yes.
how can you do that without the column and the beam in place? Where are you going to put your IBS? You know, where are you going to screw this thing in? You know, if you don't have your column and all that.
So I get it now, doctor. Thank you. Because yes.
The production of it will have to be the offsite fabrication of these IBS items will be anytime, even before you start the superstructure. You can order it, you can procure it, like let's say a few months before your actual installation. The installations have to come after your superstructure. Like let's say you're doing superstructure, your first floor has to be completed. Then you can put in all these IBS thing, and then while people working on the second floor, that one is possible. But then it doesn't have to be superstructure fully completed, but it can be going in a half interdependent kind of activity. You know what I mean by half interdependent? Like, you know, you can complete, it's not fully complete, but you can move in another thing before the other thing is fully complete, you see?
Okay, doctor. So meaning but just to confirm that the installation of walls, for example, for this ground floor, doctor.
Yep.
It must be after
before the first floor.
Before the first floor, right, doctor?
If you are doing the first floor, the ground floor one can start installation.
Yeah, after the ground floor is finished, and then the next one is supposed to be walls for IBS for ground floor, doctor. And then once the floor here is done, then we proceed it with the first floor beam Is it
No,
right?
you see, it depends on yourself actually. The installation can be done when you take out everything, all the formwork are ready and all that, okay? Because installation of IBS is very fast, okay? It's not like it will take a long time. So, but IBS normally is very light, so you can move in and out of the site very fast, okay? So the main problem are always with the production of this thing, the fabrication. So you need to add in maybe fabrication and give it ample time, in the beginning for the fabrication work to be done now, Then the actual installation, some people actually do it after the whole superstructures are completed because they want to make sure that all the formwork are clean, most of the things are quite clean already before they start installation of the wall, and they will do it serentak together with the M&E work, you see.
Okay.
Some people, if they want it faster, then they will do the installation like as the first floor is ongoing. Downstairs, they will just
For that full job.
yeah.
Okay.
Also, some people said they put it in for safety reason. They will feel like, it's better to be closed out, like that. But then you have to know that while your first floor is still working, some access, you cannot close the wall also, you see, because if you close the wall, then the material cannot move. If let's say the root of the material is coming in from the inside of the house to upstairs, then, if you close out some of the wall, then it's very difficult to move in some of the material anymore. You faham can you imagine, like let's say if you close up the wall outside, not the internal wall, but the outer wall, first floor you close it out, while your first floor, ground floor you close it up already, and the first floor you're still working. Then it's going to be very difficult for you to actually move some of the material in, right?
Yeah. So that is our concern for the sequence, doctor. So do we have to put, let's say after the column for the first floor is done, then we proceed it with ground floor walls for IBS. So the sequence should be
Normally I would, for me as a project manager, I probably would prefer that all the heavy work for the entire superstructure is done already, meaning that there won't be any more big machineries coming in or big bunch of material, like whatever big material coming in. Then I would prefer it to be done, the IBS bit to be done after that,
Okay.
Your concept is okay also, let's say if you go up to column, but you see you still got roofing, you still got purlings and all that. Do you need to have heavy machineries coming in, or do you need to have probably cannot have heavy machineries coming in already but then you probably need some big kind of equipment, and then would that, if you actually put in all the work and leave the door only, the door opening or only, would that particular equipment, say generator car or some installation equipment, would it be difficult to come in, you see? So you have to be careful with those things, you see?
Okay, paham.
Yeah, okay. So there's this way of doing things, like I say, you can, that is why I would say some people prefer all the heavy things, all the entire superstructure finished already, then they will move in with the IBS things, you see? But because some works are actually quite urgent, so they will really need to time it in a way that they will follow, like the IBS work will be following closely behind, that kind of thing. They take up for work here, they will put it in already, and then the upstairs one, they will use other access route and all that. Or they will only leave one part of the access route, It's also about planning now. Okay, it's all about planning now. If you can answer, just don't go and close up anything before things are fully completed. That's the most important logic here.
Okay, doctor. Okay.
You really faham or not?
Faham.
So you say that your concept is you plan to do it after?
After the for this one, we do it after the superstructure is done.
Okay.
But then when we think it again, usually how we see it in YouTube and so on, the IBS is doing floor by floor, but doctor.
Mm.
So that's why we thought of like maybe we should put these ground floor walls after the column wall is done, and then once they install for ground floor walls, then we proceed with the first floor beam, and then first floor slab, and then column, and then first floor walls for IBS.
Boleh
That's
juga,
how we thought.
boleh juga if you have resources constraint now. But then the thing is, IBS wall, they're usually done by more specialized people, you see. So they wouldn't be touching your current workers.
Mm.
So if you want to do like sequential right after one thing, but you don't have to stop whatever the work upstairs for you to do the IBS downstairs, you know? Like,
Faham?
yeah. So again, like I said, IBS is a different team of people. It will probably be installer from the factory themselves to come and do it. And all you need is to have one or two general workers trying to lift the thing into the house, into the building to do the installation or around the building. So mainly it's more on the general work. See? So in terms of like let's say if you're doing things upstairs, you need computer upstairs or you need bar vendors upstairs and all that. Those people you don't disturb them, but you know, so they can go on and on and on while the resources down there by war is going to be by another group of people. So they're like to not one another, you know.
Mm.
So it's okay to be sequential. You don't have to move your resources from upstairs to downstairs and stop everything upstairs to do the war downstairs, you see.
Faham, doktor, faham?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a very good question. I like it because it shows that you are thinking, you know, even though the thought may be off, it doesn't matter because the important thing is you are thinking. Okay. Thinking wrong is better than not thinking at all. Okay.
Okay.
Guna your otak is better than don't guna at all.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Problem. Okay. Can you hold on a minute? I go and go grab myself some water.
Okay, doctor.
Okay, boleh.
Okay, now back. Okay. The notes that I have given you for today, for on the other day, on Tuesday, is actually practically most of the notes already, okay? I don't think there's any supplementary ones anymore. Let me find my notes first. You can see my screen, huh? Okay. Where's my project management class? So we are on week 7 now, and it's mainly on cost management. Okay. And remember, if you have listened to the recording, there's attendance list that you need to fill up. The attendance list, what was the question that I asked already? Wait a minute. What was the question that I asked already? Yeah. Do you guys remember?
Two important components on formula of costing, doctor.
Okay.
That
All
was
right.
the
So
question, yeah.
yes. So you know how to answer that. Okay. If you don't, basically what I'm trying to ask you is, in order to do a costing, in order to do a estimates, okay, the main two column that is very important in the whole costing estimates is what? Is the rate and the quantity. Okay. So the answer is rate and quantity. Yeah. I hope you already know that. Don't give me some funny things, okay? And yeah, I went through all this. Basically, we have gone through what is the components of cost, and this part here, especially this bit here, okay, this bit here onwards, that will be about page 10 and onwards, is more on page 10 to about page 17. This bit here, I'm trying to groom you on thinking about the rate. Okay, rate is very important. I think I've mentioned this in year 3 when you did cost estimates with me. Okay, that everything in estimates is about the rate and the quantity. So quantity rate here, the rate here, you for every item you need to come up with the rate. Okay, and obviously some people, they are very there's nothing wrong of calling up somebody to get the rate. Okay, like for example, material. What you need to do is you basically need to know the quantity of the material, and then you go to the factory or you go to the supplier, and then you tell them the quantity, you know, and then they will give you a good rate. You know, of course, the bigger quantity you have over a shorter period of time, and then you're a good pay master, meaning that your company don't owe people money, then you will normally get a better rate. You see, and that rate you need to check whether it's inclusive of delivery to your site. Some people like to quote delivery to the port. Port mean that airport, the port of the what you call the river port, okay, the ocean port. So those port meaning that from the port you will need to get a lorry yourself to bring this thing to your site, to your actual location. So these are the things that you have to be very careful of when you think about material, okay? And when you come to labor and all that, many times we forgot a lot of other costs like maintenance, especially for machineries. And labor, we usually forget about the off time, meaning that you pay them a month's salary, but then they only work, like they keep on taking leave, you know, because it's their right to take leave, so they take a lot of leave, you know. And some people like to pinjam salary, you know, and then they pinjam, and then they suddenly disappear. You know, there's a lot of these losses going on as well. You know, leave, sick leave, medical leave, and now you have the COVID testing and all that. So all these are basically you need to think about it before you confirm that rate. So it's okay to go and get CIDB rate. It's okay to go and get JKR rate, but don't treat those rates. Those are money rate. I'm talking about, this is different from production rate, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of you are very confused when I say rate, and then they think that production rate is the same rate, you know, because I say you can get from JKR, you can get from CIDB, then they think that, oh, rate, oh yeah, Dr. Ting is talking about production rate. It's not. Production rate is production rate. Production rate, remember, there's a formula. This particular rate is what we call just normal rate. You know, it's a rate, it's a money rate, it's the financial rate, it's the rate, you know, it's about money, it's all about dollars and cents. Yeah. When we talk about production rate, it's days, time, okay, efficiency of work. When we talk about schedule of rates or rates, okay, these are actually in a lot of tender. They will put down all the material, the labor, everything, and then they will ask you to fill out what we call a schedule of rates. And this schedule of rate is basically how much every item will cost. Okay? It's not about how fast they will work. It's about how much they cost. Okay? So this rate here, the work rate is applicable to both side time and cost. Okay? So what we're talking about here is the rate for money. So yes, when you go to tender, or you can get a contract document from your friend for a project somewhere, basically those are those are actually rate that if they fill up, they call it schedule of rate. So generally, if there's any changes in the work or the quantity of material, there's a VO, there's a variation order, then we will refer to the schedule of rate that is being proposed by the contractor. So that if you want to call up whatever that is not done, you can call up, you can use the rate date. You know, if you want to call up or you want to add in some work, you want to add in more longkang, more pipe, or more whatever, there's the problem with design and you need to change the design, and that requires extra material, extra working, then you need to refer to the schedule of rate that is proposed by the contractor. And that schedule of rate normally is the contractor's schedule of rates, you see. So they have their own reason for coming up with that rate, which will be built up on things like this. You see, it will be built up on things like this. So when you fill up your schedule or rate in the future in your project, you need to refer back to these notes here and ask yourself, is that rate covering all these things? If not, then it may be short. So then if that rate is, say, after you cover everything, the workers is supposed to be $50 a day. But because you just take their pay, like the pay of that work is $30 or $35 or $40, you take that and then you just apply $40. You know, $40, it may not look like a lot of money. Even $5, you take $45 and $50. Even though a $5 difference, but the problem is the project is actually 1 year. The project is actually 18 months. Some project is actually 24 months and even 36 months. So when you have 36 months, we're talking about a rate that is per day. And $5 per day, if you times by 365 days per worker, the difference is huge, okay? And obviously, maybe you don't say you times as 365 days because you don't work 365 days, okay? It is going to be still a big number. So in terms of machineries, if I say that I employ, you know, my machinery, I bought it, the rate is $500 per day, but you forgot to include drivers, you forgot to include fuel. Then if you forget all these things, then you put down that rate, and that rate is going to be times by the amount of time that you will be working on site to finish the project. The difference can come out to be tens and even hundreds of thousands sort of difference, okay? So coming up with that rate is something that we have to be very careful, very thoughtful, you know, and you have to give yourself some time to really understand that rate covers what, you see. If not, then yes, you can actually go and get JKR rate, contractors rate, your friends schedule a rate, you know, dia punya contract tender, or you bapak punya office banyak tender, you know, you go and get their schedule rate. Yes, you can. No problem. But it's just a matter of, like I said, competitiveness. You're winning a tender and you're not winning a tender, or you win a tender and you cannot do the job, you know, and or you win a tender and finish the job beautifully. So these are the difference. The difference will come in when you're actually going to be doing the work, you see. So this part of the page 10 to page 17, I want you to think about rates. Think about what sort of rates that you're putting in. Don't just call a concrete supplier and say that, you know, hey, I need 5 meter cube of concrete, you know, and they quote you over the phone, you know, rate 35, they quote you 300 ringgit. And then you just put that down in the tender. You know how many times that people die because of these sort of things, you know? I myself as a young engineer, I have faced this before. You know, I go and get quote from a ball pile subcon, okay? And he quoted me 700,000 to do the entire site of ball piling work, okay? And then instead of looking at the road more carefully and maybe give it a bit of a factor in there, I basically just put whatever he gives me in the tender, okay? And then after the tender, I realized that there was a lot of terms and conditions within that particular section, within that particular quotation, such as the rate is based in Kuching and is not in, you know, off Kuching side, something like that. You know, and then if you want to mobilize, they will charge again, you know, a lot of this sort of extra things. And I realized that, you know, there's no way that I can cover. If this guy is supposed to work for me on my side, I will lose. If I get him to do it, I will lose 300,000 immediately. And that kind of losses still would not be able to be fixed yet, you know, because if this person is a monopoly, then you're going to be in even bigger trouble. So luckily, my boss actually found a guy that is more reasonable and less tricky, and then we were able to get it done within that 700,000. Otherwise, I would have win the tender and lost minimum of 300,000 immediately. So these are the kind of issues that we need to track. We as engineers especially, because day in, day out, we deal with a lot of suppliers, with a lot of materials, with a lot of subcontractors and a lot of workers and all that. So this kind of thing, when we do tendering, when we do quotations, we have to be very, very careful, before we actually confirm and sign the contract, and even go for tender in that sense. So this is something that I want to emphasize on. This part will be more about rate, okay? And then previously, I also mentioned that there is many types of estimates and all that. And different type of estimates, actually the difference is the level of accuracy, which is very much dependent on the quantity and also the rate. So if let's say I go for a very high level, accuracy kind of estimates, which is like a detailed estimates, my rate, I have to be very, very careful, very, very clean, the rate. And then my quantity has to be very, very clear. Okay. And if let's say I go, like this, those parametric estimates and those that is like conceptual sort of analogy estimates, the quantity are usually very big, very overall, very rough. Okay. You will only do certain components, you won't go into detail. Okay. And then the rate will be pretty much what we call an all-up rate. All-up rate means that particular rate within there is labor, there is machineries, there is material, it's canton everything into a very big rate, $1,000, 1,000 per meter cube of concrete, that sort of things. Okay, so that is how we approach parametric. Parametric, we can approach it based on, say, like I said, I give you an example. If you have like waterworks, you have pipes, you have got valve, you've got pillar. So these are the three parameters that you can use, you see. So then from there, you will get the estimates of the pipe. So from your layout plan, you will see, you will roughly see the level, the number of pipes already that is available, or the meter length of the pipe that is available. So let's say if you you already lay it out, you probably need 2,000 meter. So with 2,000 meter, and then you can see from all your site how many branches and all that, you will see that you need 1, 2, 3, 4 Swiss valve and 5 kilo hydrant, for example. So from there, that is your quantity. Okay, and we didn't go into the nitty-gritty detail of how many gasket, how many rubbering, how many sleeving, how many flange adapter, how many coupling, or how many joining or whatever. We don't calculate that. It's just the overall quantity, numbers and meter. Okay, then from there, your rate. You see, your rate is, you can actually, if you're confident to get an all-up rate, then you can use an all-up rate, for each and every one of the items. If you can't, what you can do is you can look at another project that has similar quantity or similar layout. Then from there, you can actually get their quantity and the final sum. Let's say for project example project, your sample project waterworks is actually 200,000, and they are laying about 2.5 meters, 2,500 meter length of pipe. They have about 4 pillar hydrant and 8 Swiss valve. So from there, you can take your 200,000 and you can split up into 3 components. Then say 70% is in pipeline, 20% is in Swiss valve, or 15 is in Swiss valve, and 15% is in the pillar hydrant. So you take that 200,000 and split it out accordingly. Like 200,000 times by 15,000 is 30,000. Yes, 30,000, and the rest is actually the rest of the 140,000 is actually belonging to the pipe. So from there, you've already got the parameters of these 3 parameters. So then you reflect that into your 2,000 meter length and your 5 pillar hydrant and 5 Swiss valve, for example, or 4 Swiss valve, 5 pillar hydrant, and take that, and then you calculate into your own. So this is what we do with parametric estimates. Okay, again, that is the situation where you really cannot get any O-up rate. But if you can get the O-up rate, it will be better to use the O-up rate. Okay, like meaning that the rate that you apply to the 1 Swiss valve set is going to be material with the labor, with the everything all into one. Okay, but with that we don't think about the workflow, how the delivery of the material, inventory, also we don't think about all this sort of things. You see, when you do detailed estimates, you need to think about the whole work process. Okay, when you do definitive estimates, you can't. You have the very clear quantity, but the work process is not clear, so you use O-up rate. For parametric estimates, you can use a sample historical project parameters breaking up, or you can use an O-up rate. Again, those rate does not think about the work processes. It does not think about the flow of work and all that, or the quality, this sort of things. You don't. It's just a rate that you get this thing completed. A very big rate. So that is the difference between the different type of estimates that we have, and then we apply it at different point in time. So like I said, IDP 2, you'll be doing detailed estimates that you will be looking into all your machineries, material, you think about the workflow and all that, whereby now you can just do parametric with O-up rate, or parametric with sample breakup rates. Okay, and for conceptual, it's always an analogy. Analogy means that previous project have 50 houses, your project has 100 houses, so you do your projection sort of things, yeah, with a formula. So are we clear about the different type of estimates? Okay. And to do an estimates, you need to know quantity and rate. Okay. And here, let me show you how to actually do the detailed estimates. Okay. So in this sheet that I have, this is a sample. Again, like I said, there's no right or wrong on how you lay these things out. Here, I've already given you even 2 type of samples, you see. You can do it like this, you can do it like this, or you can actually have different sheets. Like I can have my labor in one whole sheet, I can have my material in one whole sheet, I can have my plant in one whole sheet, okay? So different type of sheets that you have, at the end of the day, you are going to build up towards a final sheets like this. Okay, this is going to be your final project estimator, which will come from the different sub quantities that you get at the end of the day from each different sheets. Okay, you can have it based on material and all that, or you can have the big sum, like one big sum, one big sum, one big sum, one big sum, one big sum along the way also can. Okay, so you don't need to have all this, but directly, if your sheets here already include overheads, markup, everything, then the final sum you can input into here, okay, and with the quantity available. So what you need to do as an estimator in the first place, you will need to pick up your work breakdown. Like for example, just now when you guys show me your work breakdown, you take that work breakdown, you take your work breakdown, and then you start to look into labor, for example. Okay, So for that particular work breakdown, you will think how really after your resources planning, you know exactly how many labors that are required. So you make a remark, you know, you can make a remark at the end, you can make a remark here, you know, it's all up to you all, you know. So you make a remark that, or you can put down the quantity of material, the quantity of labor required, okay? For this activity, for this activity, for this activity, I mean, like there's for this activity, for this activity, this is the third, like this is a, if we say that this is the second layer, this will be the third layer, okay? So I need 4 labor for how many weeks? I need a crew of 6 for how many work? For how much? I need a labor of how much to do this supply and placing, for example. So you remark onto your third layer, and then from there, labor is always calculated based on time. Okay, so I have 4 workers 1 week, you see, and 1 week, what is the rate? So then you have your quantity of labor. So what you do is you can have you can write your wordings here, and then you can have first, just like your BQ, you will have your quantity. So that quantity is based on your writing. 4 workers times 5, 1 week. 1 week is how many days? 6 days times 5, 9 hours of working. Okay, if they are being paid by hours, that is what you would do. But if they are being paid by days, so 1 week, 5 days is 4 workers times by $50 a day. Okay, times by 5 days. So that will be your labor usage, the money usage for the labor. Okay, so then you have to put down your quantity first. 4 labor times by how many days? So the total days that is available times by the rate. Okay, you imagine times by the rate. Okay, the rate is $50 per day. So depending on the schedule or rate or the rate that you've gotten, then you know if this is week, then you need to convert the quantity into week. If this is a quantity that is talking about $60 per crew, for example, then all you need is the number of crew that is available. You see, you have to be clear about the rate. What is the unit that you're talking about? So your quantity has to be clear enough to match that rate. So you don't want to have a quantity that is different from the rate per unit. You know, that is very important. So once you've got that done, the whole sheet is finished, and then you can have your material as one sheet. So material, again, you can write your total area, you know, make how many 55 meters square. Then after that, how many plywood you need for cutting, and then that is the quantity of material times by the rate again. And that rate includes delivery, supply, delivery, all that. You have to give yourself some thought processes. You get what I mean? Like, macam you try to imagine the work here. With writing, I suggest the remark one is for you to remember why you put that rate, or why you put that quantity, or why you put that numbers, for example. Okay, it's a good practice to do, especially if it's a very big project, and then later on you'll be discussing with other people about this rate and also the quantity. And then the quantity, maybe you can have it from the QS. If not, then you have to do it yourself. So all sorts of scenario in that sense. See? And then after that, plant and subcontractors, you know, so you can have labor and subcontractor in one sheet if you want, plant machineries in one sheet, and then you have your temporary permanent materials and your consumables in one sheet, you know. So then after you work it out, this is a subtotal for this particular work, this is a subtotal for this particular work, and then the total is 94,565. So if we look at concrete pier shaft, okay, concrete pier shaft, okay, you will actually calculate up to this, you see. So your concrete pier shaft here is in the main sheet, you will be 94. You can key it in directly, and then you will also plus the indirect cost, plus the markup, plus the bidding amount. So this is your cost plus then your markup. After your markup, it will be your bid amount, okay, the bidding amount. So this amount here is also very important. I will tell you why in financial management later. The bidding amount is the one that you'll be using for your S curve. This is your planned value later. And why do you need this amount? Plus up to the indirect cost and any of the contingency amount. So this amount here is also very important because this one will help you to look after your cash flow in your own company when it comes to payment, when it comes to spending later. So this two amount is going to be quite substantial in financial management later on. Okay. So this is the kind of detailed work breakdown that we get. So again, you know, there's the different way of writing, different way of breaking things down, you know, and this is all samples. And I also remember I gave you a sample before done by some of my master's level students. You see that their work, you know, there's a few projects here. There's about 22 pages here, which is by different people. So you will see how they break it down. Machine, unit costs, you know, and they have their duration because a lot of the machine and labor costs are based on duration. So this is how they design their sheets, you see. And there are other people, other groups that design their sheets like this, you see. So they have material, labor, machinery, they have their quantity and their unit and their rate, you know, and then they times it with the wastage plus, let's say, these are all about the unit cost. So they didn't actually put any markup. Markup means that your bidding amount. Yeah. So they're trying to work out the estimates of all these activities. So don't be surprised. This will be a very good referencing for you all later on to do your IDP 2. IDP 1, I mentioned this again and again that I do not expect you to do things like that. So you see these summary sheets here, okay, like this summary sheet here is pretty much looking like okay, wait. I get rid of these things. Okay. It is something like this. Okay, so it depends on how much details you want to have. So again, sometimes we do this on details so that we want to cross-check the numbers again to make sure that, you know, we are punching in the right numbers. This is another way of checking. So you can have this, or you can have this type of summary sheets also, it's fine, okay? And then there is other samples like how they do material, machineries, manpower, again, you know, and some of the machinery and material, they combine it into a crew kind of format. Okay, so they can use crew, that they will take all these numbers and make it into a crew kind of thing. Crew means that they will need to say what is in team F, what is in team B, and what is in team A, you know, that sort of thing. So yeah, depends. So depending on the type of structures and all that, and then team can also be subcontractors and all that. So up to you all to name it, but you need to be able to put a proper legend down somewhere lah. So this is a few samples of how we do costing, okay? And any questions so far? So once we know how to do a detailed costing, okay, you need to know how to do analogy costing. And I need to give you the formula for analogy costing. And then I forgot about that. I need to dig it out and try to get it to you. And I also need to give you the parametric ones. Parametrics ones is I've already mentioned just now verbally. And then I've also mentioned about all outbreak, which is the definitive estimates. So definitive estimates, maybe you have the quantity, but the quantity is actually from the design. This is actually normally done by consultant for the quantity for their BQs and all that. So you can use your BQ. This is actually all part and parcels of the BQ. It's just that the BQ is a presentation way that is a lot more simple. They only have the work, rate, quantity to be filled out by the contractor later. So for the contractor yourself, you have to do something like this, like this, like this, like this, for you to come up with your rate 7 million, 1 million. You have to come up with this properly with the right kind of calculation, with your work breakdown, with your rate of machineries, well thought through, the quantity of materials, the production rate to calculate the days, because a lot of the items are based on days, okay? Okay, so can you all digest this a little while? Okay, and then yeah, I'll give you 3 minutes to digest this. If you have any questions, please ask, okay? Any questions from anybody? I mean, these are the things that you all need to be paying very, very specific attention, because like how to do Gantt chart, how to do CPM, how to convert that to resources, and then, I mean, how to convert that to resources leveling and loading and all that. It flows, it flows into things like this now, because now your resources that you punch in here in this particular sheet is after you have think through all your resources leveling, all your resources smoothing and all that, and then you come to this particular sheet, you are playing with that resources, you see. And resources, again, it needs to be merged with the timeline. And then, I mean, a lot of things are very easily said here, but it's only through a real practice that you really get a feel about all the application of all these things. So even though I can show you like many samples of different types of estimates and detailed estimates mainly, it's only when you get your hands onto IDP1, and then doing the assignments or doing the project later on, that after your exam, after your test, I'll give you your group project already. And that group project, after you do that group project, you will get a feel really like how to do these things as well, So again, but you have to be very clear about the different terminologies, like what is conceptual estimates, which is talking about the analogy estimates, expert opinion, and you talk about parametric estimates, whereby we break things out into parameters, and then from there do an estimation based on previous projects, and then so that you have better accuracy of calculations and that. Then after that, you will also you will also do definitive estimates, especially consultant, with your OOP rate, and how do you come up with the OOP rate? Basically, the OOP rate is very simple. You just get the labor rate plus the machineries rate plus the material rate. You all jantum them together. That is one OOP rate. You see, and that doesn't talk about that doesn't talk about the workflow and all that. It's just basically you need 5 workers, you put in the rate. You put you need 5 meter cube, you put in the rate. So all the rate is there. You see, so for that 1 meter cube, you need 5 workers. 1 meter cube is 200 people. 200 ringgit per meter cube plus 3 workers, $50 per day. You're gonna be using like 1 day to do this work, so that will be 150 ringgit plus 200 ringgit is 350 ringgit. And machineries for one day is going to be 100 ringgit. So your rate for 1 meter cube of concrete pouring will be talking about 450 meter cube kind of thing. Yeah, so this is what we will plan out, and then plus a bit of miscellaneous costs, etc., temporary works, and all that. It will be looking at about 500 to 600 per meter square of per meter cube of concrete to complete that per meter cube of concrete. So this is what we are looking at in terms of rate. Okay, and then but the best is always do detailed estimates. And like I say, it's not all the time we need to do detailed estimates. It's not all the time you can do detailed estimates. This is now IDP 1. You can't do detailed estimates. If you do detailed, how do you do detailed estimates? You don't even know the amount of concrete, bars, and all that. It's basically based on floor plans, floor sizes, how many stories. These sort of things are very rough, in that sense. So from the floor areas, you can calculate estimates how much concrete, and how much concrete you can estimate how much steels plus how much formwork. So these are all estimates, you see. So we don't have that, we don't have that design yet for you to generate your actual quantity. Yeah. And for detailed estimates, you need the actual quantity to do the calculation. So for parametric estimates, you don't have that, you see. And for definitive estimates, you would already have the design, but then you are not the contractor. So if you're not the contractor, you're supposed to just give an estimate about the project cost so that the client know whether they are up tendering or not, or they have abandoned their project for now because the cost is too high. Then the rate is not so specific. The rate is very wide. There's many things in that rate. It's like a rojak dish. Yeah. So that is the difference between all the estimates, and they are all used at different times. And you will use basically the skills that you will use here will be analogy, parametric, OARP, and also detail, which is going to be in IDP2. But I will get you to practice that in your project later on in PM. So that when you go to IDP2, you are very much prepared already, and you're very much having a certain format that is ready already to go. Yeah. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Hello, good morning, Doctor.
Morning.
Okay, my question is regarding on IDP. For the wet work breakdown structure, as I know, is about the list of activities, right, from layer 1 until layer 3, layer 4. But is that we can include with on the particular activities that we could include the machineries and also manpower involved in the activities? Can we include on the work breakdown structure, Doctor, or just only list of activities sahaja?
Well, I think maybe you missed what I said just now in the beginning. I'm not sure whether you're here or not just now, because in the beginning, somebody asked this question already. So actually, you have to base it on your work breakdown structure.
Okay.
Correct or not?
Yeah.
How you cannot just have your work breakdown structure, include your work breakdown structure, and then come up with your own list of machineries, material, and manpower. It's not possible, kan? Okay, now I ask you, Dion, if you don't have your work breakdown structure, I ask you to come up with a list of material, with a list of manpower and machinery. Is that possible?
Not really possible. Maybe I can do on the resource allocation.
You can't. You have to have activities. If you don't have activities, how are you going to know whether you're going to use concrete or not? Whether you're going to use
Okay.
correct or not? It's absolutely answer is zero. You can't. without the work breakdown structure, the work breakdown structure is the backbone of everything. Without work breakdown structure, you cannot do time planning, you cannot do cost planning, you cannot do anything. Okay, so resources planning is the same. You cannot look at a drawing and say that, okay, now throw away the drawing. I can come up with a list of material. I can come up with a list of resources. I can come up with a list of manpower and machinery. No way. Okay, if you can, the only way you can is you are just buka only. You are just throwing in the numbers only. Okay, meaning
understood. Meaning that, doctor, means on the work breakdown structure, I include with the machineries that involve on the activities on the WBS structure.
right.
Yes.
The
Okay.
first-
Understood.
Yes, you have to look at your work breakdown. And just now I mentioned that because this is not an activity to get you to, this is not an assignment to get you to know how to do resources planning. This is an assignment to know how to do Gantt chart and CPM. So what you need to do is, instead of going to every third layer of the resources, every third layer of resources and punch in all the machineries like the sample that I showed you just now, okay? You can just look at layer
Okay.
1 or layer 2, and get yourself some ideas of the number of people, a number of machine required. That will be your list of resources already.
Oh, okay. Understood, doctor.
You base it on, but no matter what, you have to base it on the work breakdown. There's no way that we can do it without a work breakdown. Without a work breakdown, you cannot do your resources.
Okay. Understand, doctor.
Resources is to be applied later on to your specific work. Kan?
Okay.
So work breakdown, again, remember this, the work breakdown is the backbone. It's the whole backbone. First, work breakdown. Second, resources. Third, time. Fourth, cost. But everything goes back to that work breakdown.
Okay. Understood, doctor. Fully understood.
So it's just that for this particular assignment, I only need you to maybe get a rough number based on whatever you see in the work breakdown. So I am not expecting something like this, you see. I am not expecting something like this, you see. I'm not expecting you all to say, okay, layer 3, you see, concrete cover, how many workers. No, I'm not expecting this. I'm only expecting, okay, precast concrete, you just put in, give an estimates, kind of thing. These are very detailed. These are like layer 3. They go in layer 3. You see, look at all the numbers of the resources that they're putting in. They're going to layer 3, put in this, different workers and all that, different labor, machineries, etc. So they're going to layer 3, very detailed. What you need to do is just look at these layers, roughly look at this earthwork, and then you just go like, okay, I need 5 men, 2 machines, Then later on you add up all your quantity lah. Yeah.
Understood. Okay, understood, doctor. Thank you so much, doctor.
No problem. Any other questions?
Okay.
Morning, doctor.
Morning.
Can I ask on the previous exercise, the example for resource scheduling? I share my screen.
Okay, you share your screen.
Can you see the screen?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one is for this example. I try to work on the resource profile. Comment on it. Is it okay if I do it this way?
Can you go down? Can I have a look at your leveling?
Yeah, this is for the leveling. So the number of level will be 6 for this one.
So you're gonna fix it at 6, is it?
Yeah, because the question didn't mention like one day will be how many level available.
I mean, if leveling, then we definitely have to have a fixed number. So you are confident that but when you level like this, is there anything that is up there? Like, is there anything that have you done your calculation? Like, is there anything that is like sticking out that needs to be taken in by other, by other activities? Can you show me your table up there?
Mhm.
Where is your leveling? Okay, so did you try to do so now you put everything 6, you see? So you put everything 6, is there, so here you got -2, and then you got negative, then you got 6, 6, 6, 0, 0, 0, and is there anything that is positive here that needs to be covered with the negative? This is not leveling up. The one that you are looking at is not, the one that I'm looking at is not leveling up. Because the after leveling is not 4, 4, 4, 6, 6, 6. After leveling, everything will be 6, you know?
But I refer the example.
No. You don't say you refer to the example. The example don't show you like this. After leveling, you should have everything 6, you see? 6 is your answer already. That is leveling. For smoothing, correct, no problem. 4, 4, 6, 6, 7, 7, 6, 5, 5, 3, 3. For smoothing, you will get a curve, and the curve has the number on it. But for leveling, you must have, this is the original one. Is this the original one or after leveling?
This one is the original one.
No, the second one, the resources leveling.
After, yeah.
Okay, so after leveling, how can this be, the total is 6, and after leveling, how can it be 4? So if you're going to be using 6, then everything is 6. So you see, you pick 6, right? So 6, you put, okay, on your first table, total label, this is before leveling, correct now?
Yeah, correct.
Then you put your after leveling is 6, 6, 6, 6 all the way through, okay? And then you do the minusing.
But does it we only can allocate the leveling to the plot, or we can allocate to any of the?
That's why you have to check, you see? You can put 5, you can put 4 as a level, and then you need to check, like let's say if this is negative, if you put 4, then your day 1 and 2 will be -2 already, ma? Okay, meaning that you don't have enough people, correct not? And then you'll be -2, -2, you see? So let's say if you put 4,
Okay.
But then this will be -3, -3. And then in this bit here, it will be 6 again, -4. So then you have 4, the +1, +1, +1, +1, +1, +2, +2. So you need to make sure that all your positive can cover all your negative, you see? That is the most straightforward way of calculating. So if you put all 6, definitely no problem, because originally it's 6 marks, so that will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, -1, -1, 0, positive, 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 positive already. So the little bit of negative that you get in the middle is all covered up with the later activity punya positive already, ma?
So as long as can cover, not necessary everything has to be 6 lah, the number of levels.
The way that you are doing your way that you're doing now, you are actually doing leveling. You're actually doing resources smoothing. Actually, the numbers that you put out here for your leveling, it will be a very nice number for your resources smoothing. That would be the nice answer for your resources smoothing, because you go up, you go from low, then you go from low. Okay, you unshare it already.
And I share again. Can you see it, madam?
No, I can't. Wait, let me see the WebEx. Oh, okay, can. Yeah. So your number that you're saying for resources leveling is actually very nice number for resources smoothing, because resources smoothing, we want it to be as long as possible you hold a number on the top.
So for resources smoothing, it's not necessary to have like a peak to make the curve shape, is it?
Remember, Chua, I say this, the concept is come, hold, drop, bye. Remember, I say this many times. So you have to go in low, slowly come, slowly go up, and then you have to hold as long as possible with a number. Why do you want a peak? I never say about having a peak, okay? In fact, we don't want a peak.
Yeah,
You
because
want a
I
peak for
thought
1 or
we
2
need to-
days, no point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
if you
thought
go
we
down
need
to
to
your
achieve
resources
the
leveling graph,
Yeah.
you go down to your resources leveling graph, this is a perfect resources smoothing, because you are holding it for a long time. You're holding it majority period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have about 2, 4, 6, 8 period that you're holding the label as it is before you drop nicely down. The one that you're showing me in green, this is a terrible resources smoothing.
Mm-hmm.
Too much changes, you see? Up, and then up again, and then down, you see? This one, your green color is harder to manage. Okay, so yes, your concept, your mind map of this thing is not correct. Your resources smoothing, again, is better to look like this, your pink graph. And then your leveling must be one number only. The answer from leveling will always be one number only. They cannot, when you level already, you don't have multiple numbers anymore. That's the purpose. You want to keep the same amount on site all the time.